But I won that tournament fishing standing timber. And we're gonna talk about that today. So cool that this has become full circle for me, right? I was a kid, I was a geek with glasses back then. And now I'm an old guy with glasses and I'm a geek. But it has become full circle. But forward-facing sonar, like it or not, Randy Blockett or Ben Milliken, whatever your thought is on it, it is a great tool to help you figure out where they are at in those trees. It really is. You know, where before we'd have to sort of fish around to figure it out, now we just see, you know. Just shine a flashlight out there. Tink, tink. Oh, they're 15 foot down in the tree over 30. Ah, cool. So forward-facing sonar is a great tool for suspended fish. The bait spawn. Show of hands, be honest. How many people have heard of the shad spawn before? Come on. Right? Dude, some of the best, most exciting days you'll ever have in your life are on the shad spawn. Isn't it great? Well, you got something white tied on, spinnerbait, whatever, throw it over there. Dude, you reel it in. Dude, they're following your lure, trying to hump with it. You know what I'm talking about? It's the most amazing bite. And I think so many anglers are singularly focused that the bait spawn, and when I say bait spawn, I don't want to just say shad, because a lot of times it's shad. But if you live up north, it could be herring. If you live in Ohio, I met somebody earlier that's in Ohio, it could be yellow perch. Whatever your bait is, it doesn't just happen on the bank. Standing timber is one of the best, it's a sleeper, spots for a shad spawn, okay? So listen, shad don't just spawn shallow, okay? They don't just spawn on the bank. Dude, those shad bait loves to spawn in the trees. Why? Why? Cover? Food? Protection? But the main reason is those shad, they need, they don't spawn like a bass. Shad are dispersion spawners. So the males and the females get together and they dispersion spawn, right? Dude, standing timber is a great place because they need to spawn on something that's hard. They need to spawn on something that's a lot of times flat. They need to be able to actually hit and rub to create the and they need a hard object for the eggs to stick on. In fact, if that object is dark colored, black, brown, what's standing timber? Black, brown, even better, because they want their eggs to fertilize quick. Dude, standing timber has all that. So I don't care, listen, shad spawn comes, 150 boat tournament, 148 of them are fishing the shad spawn on the bank. Those shad are spawning in that deep timber too. Dude, amazing. Very overlooked egg. Could be 100 feet of water. They're still spawning in that standing timber. Who saw the new bait called the Credge that Berkeley released, right? Really cool bait. And the theory of that bait is it's a bait that rises. And why it's so good is that fish love to feed up. And why do they like to feed up? Ambush, but underneath, which means they trap the bait. Dude, think about it. We always think about the bottom, but what about the top? That is a barrier that no fish can survive in above the water. This is Little Mermaid concept, guys. And they love to trap stuff up because it's the cap for them. It's the roof. It's the ceiling. And generally when those surface fish, feeding fish in standing timber are up, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. Fall feed, when they come back in those trees to feed, 100%. Heat of the summer, remember we talked about the extremes, they're on those big straight poles, right? Love it. Schooling. You see a lot of schooling going on. Post-spawn, they're coming out of the shallows. They're staging in the tree. When the fish are on the surface in that top third, it's awesome, right? Here's a look at, real quick, my top baits for when they're there. Top waters, it's a really big category, but I love a walking bait, a buzz bait, through trees when the fish are in the top third of the water column. I love it. Wake baits, phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. High column swim baits would be, how many of you, show of hands, have gotten into glide baits or that kind of thing? It's pretty addicting once you start getting into it. Great surface style lures. And then I saved this one for last because that is a dynamite one, is fluke. How many people have fished fluke in stand-up timber before? Dude, 100%, right? You had some good days with it?
Caught like a 5, I don't know, I caught like a 5-pounder, use a white fluke and skip it into those trees.
Yep, skipping it into trees, right? White fluke, dude, makes a lot of sense. So, you know, post-spawn, heat of the summer, fall feed, when the fish are on the top third of the water, you know, those kind of lures are great. All right, go ahead. What do we got? Suspended fish, you heard me talk about it before. Don't run from them. And when they're out in open water, we're going to leave it for the Japanese anglers. When they're in the standing timber, we can catch them. We can catch those fish. No particular order. You know, here's my favorites when they're in that middle third, okay? You want a bait that maximizes, that stays in the middle, right? That's the thing. All these lure choices, guys, are tools, right? So a swim jig, a chatterbait, a weighted wacky rig, a fish head spin, weighted lures that I can control because they sink, right? I can keep them in the middle. They're amazing. Jerk baits, the Kredge, I would put into this list. Medium and deep diving crankbaits, right? If I'm in 20 feet of water and I'm looking with my flashlight and I'm seeing the fish in the bait at 10, they're suspended, I get a Berkeley Dime 10. Berkeley Dime 10 runs 10 to 12 feet. And I throw it out there. I'm not trying to contact the bottom. I'm trying to run it through the suspended fish, right? So crankbaits. And then the last one is that seminar you guys just heard from Joey. I call it the magic minnow. That's my term for it. Dude, killer in the trees. Killer. Here's, real quick before we get on, when you're using that minnow in those trees, one of the things that I've learned is go to a small hook. And I always was scared of a small hook, you know, especially if you get in a place with a lot of big fish, you know, you're like, I don't want to use a small hook. It scares, I'm scared, you know. Go to a small hook on your magic minnow in the trees because it won't hardly get caught. So use a jig head that's got like a 1 or a 2-aught instead of a 3 or a 4-aught. Small hook, but you can fish it through the trees. That magic minnow is a killer when the fish are suspended in timber. All right?